Hello, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. You can listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on iTunes, where reviews are appreciated, your podcast app of choice, or just visit the website at RemakeThisMovieRight.com. We're here to tell Hollywood how to remake these movies right. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and for this episode of Remake This Movie Right, we are just discussing some listener feedback on our recent The Mist and Logan's Run episodes, giving you just a quick update on all the remakes going on, and I don't know if I can touch them all at this point. And we're going to tease the very next episode, which was a lot of fun. But before we get into that, let me mention Troy and I. You've heard Troy on this very podcast. Troy and I are just launched a Beyond Westworld podcast. So if you're looking forward to the Westworld show and you are someone who listens to companion podcasts, look for BeyondWestworldPodcast.com, and that'll take you right to it. We just started doing that, where we also do the Blacklist Exposed for the Blacklist. So if you like podcasts and you like companion shows, you might like it. I don't know. But really, you came here to talk about Remake This Movie Right, or hear about Remake This Movie Right. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to mention to you that we've got some really cool episodes coming up. We've got, I'll tease the upcoming one here shortly. And then we've got another one with SS Wilson, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then we've got actually one for Westworld. We're actually going to do a remake of Westworld, and we're going to time it to when the series is on so you can watch the pilot and then listen to the remake and decide which one's better. I'm assuming theirs might be because Jonathan Nolan has got a little bit more street cred than we do, but you don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to the listener feedback. I'm really curious to run through this. This will be a pretty short episode. Just want to update everybody since we haven't done a teaser episode in a few weeks, just because of things have been crazy and nutty and busy, and that's just the way things go in the podcasting space. Hank Alec, he writes in and says The Mist, because this is covering The Mist and Logan's Run, if you didn't see either one of those episodes, which you couldn't see them because they were on audio, but you could, if you listen, you can visualize it in your mind, especially with Wayne's trailer. See, this is what happens when you make a stupid statement and you have to recover quickly. See, that's what I just really did very poorly. Okay, Hank Alex said, The Mist was the first time I've ever heard your podcast. I found out about this episode on Reddit. Thank you for sharing it on Reddit and Facebook and Twitter and wherever else you hear it. Please share the show on your social media. That's how people hear it. It's a true attestament. Thank you, Hank. He says, what a cool concept. Thank you. I've listened to several now, and I'm really enjoying them. Can you hint or tell us the movies coming up? I think I got ahead of myself. Also, any chance of maybe a TV show or two? Movies coming up, other than the ones I talked about. We are going to do Saw sometime in October. We're going to have 2 movies for Halloween, like we always do. We're going to have Saw in October, and I think it's going to be Halloween because there was a remake and it was awful, my opinion. And so now we're going to remake it right. We're going to remake it right. And especially they're working on a new one anyway. It fits. It really does. And then we're actually going to be doing a live episode on October 1st. On October 1st, we're going to be at the Blue Box Cafe in Elgin. We're going to do a live episode, a live remake. So I hope if you're in that area, come out and check us out. I think we're from 1 to 2 p.m. We'll be doing a live episode. And I don't know what that movie's going to be yet. Because it's live, we'll pick something probably popular just because otherwise it doesn't work as well. You know, if you pick a movie no one's ever heard of, nobody cares about your show. As some of you, I'm sure, have found out why you are listening. Any chance of maybe a TV show or two? That's a really interesting question. In terms of remaking a TV show, I mean, I guess if there was a TV show being remade, I don't know. Sure, I mean, the title is Remake This Movie Right, but remakes always skirt the rules, man. We can make our own as we go. Sure, why not? Thank you for that, Hank. I do appreciate it. And these are just like where people wrote a bunch wrote some information. I didn't. There's a lot of great show, a good job. We appreciate it, I'm very grateful to every one of those. I'm just reading like the detailed one where people had questions. So please don't feel left out if I don't read your email. That's the only reason. Ida says, I'm a Hollywood Outsider listener. Well, thank you, Ida. And honestly, only listened to The Mist because it was bittersweet goodness to hear Aaron and Brian together one last time. Aw, that's very sweet. Thank you. If you don't listen to the Hollywood Outsider, Brian was one of our longtime hosts, and he just recently left. And then he did an episode of Remake, which aired about a month after he wrapped up on the Hollywood Outsider. But don't worry, you will hear from Mr. Brian Williams again. Do not panic, ma'am. Do not panic. And then, oh wait, there's more. This is the better part. Piss on Brian. This is better. And then I hear this tall drink of water and Mr. Wayne Henderson. I like your voice, movie trailer guy. I should probably say that really slow. Let me try this again. It was bittersweet goodness to hear Aaron and Brian together one last time. And then I hear this tall drink of water in Mr. Wayne Henderson. I like your voice, movie trailer guy. That is a sexy email, and I bet you Wayne appreciates it even more that I said it, because hearing it from my voice really sells the sexy of it. Thank you, Ida. I'm sure he really appreciates that. He does a great job with the trailers. I'm glad you're enjoying him. And on The Mist, yeah, I think he's great. I wish he would do more episodes, but Wayne's not really a big movie guy, so he doesn't watch as many movies as, sadly, I do. He's off, living life and doing podcasts for 11/22/63, and you never know what else might be coming up. And also those Packers fan podcast. You can hear Wayne every week up through the end of the football season, hopefully to the Super Bowl. Jake Hafford, I'm just curious why so many guest change-ups. Sorry, I actually love it, but I guess I don't get it. So many podcasts, the same guys or gals every single week. Yours is different all the time. Also, my favorites are Amanda and S.S. Wilson. And you, Aaron, but you're always there. I think thanks. I don't know. Why so many? Because the show doesn't work. We found in the first season, if you listen to some of those early episodes, the show doesn't work if people don't enjoy the movie. We have tried to have like many of the same people on, and as soon as you can just tell when they don't enjoy the movie or they're not a big fan of the movie, they try to do the best that they can, but that joy definitely doesn't shine, and that's where editing magic has to happen. And also, it's just, you get better ideas when people are really engaged in what you're talking about. I firmly believe that if people genuinely don't care about the movie, from my experience on this podcast, if they don't care about the movie, they don't generally do as well. They just don't. I think they try and they fake it and they do the best they can and everything else, and they just try to have a good time with it. But I really want for the show to have people that are genuinely engaged or interested in the movie they're talking about. And also to shake it up, because I think if you hear the same voices every single week, you hear mine every week. So you're probably going to hear similar acting picks and stuff like that. But if you shake it up and you have different guest hosts and stuff like that, it really makes it, you really broaden the ideas. You bring in some different ideas and some other ideas that probably wouldn't come from having the same people every week. You get a lot of the same cycles. So that's why. I think it really engages the conversation. I think people seem to like it. So that's what we've been doing, and it's worked well. It's worked well. Sharon Hendricks, she says, loved the Logan's Run episode. That was really cool to hear so much respect paid to one of my favorite movies of all time. I tried to listen to The Mist because I love Wayne. Aw, another Wayne shout out. But I couldn't get over my hate for that original ending. XO Wayne. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for at least giving it a shot. But man, that ending was polarizing, wasn't it? Remy Lavictora, Remy, I know I butchered that. I am really bad with awesome names, and you have an awesome name, and I butchered it. I'm sorry. Great podcast, guys. Just watched The Mist and listening to your episode. And Remy's also a longtime podcaster. He's going to hopefully come on sometime down the road, so looking forward to that. If you're willing, Remy, fist bump. This movie was actually much better than I remembered. I'd actually keep the same dark suicide ending, but I think Thomas Jane needed more direction. His bellowing at the end really fell flat, and I didn't buy it. You guys said all of David's decisions seemed to be bad ones. That's a great observation, an interesting spin on the traditional hero role. Marcia Gay Harden also was outstanding. Yeah, I totally agree with everything. I mean, Marcia Gay Harden was great. She could have easily went right over the top. She did not. And yeah, I mean, I rewatched The Mist again because I love that movie. I really do. I genuinely love that movie. And man, David is just wrong so often. Like every chance he gets, he's just so wrong in that movie. Also, I want to point out, thank you for the message, Remy. One more thing. There are a lot of responses from people that had never even seen the movie that checked it out just because of the podcast. And they were like, hated the ending. God, that ending sucked. Or that ending was phenomenal. There were no middle ground messages on that, which I'm glad people went and looked it up and checked out the movie because of the podcast. I think that's fantastic. And two, I'm glad it's such a polarizing ending. I really think that's what makes it worth talking about and worth maybe remaking. Right? Yeah, it's just way too cheesy for my own good. All right, moving on. We've actually got a message from Wayne Henderson, from Mr. Wayne Henderson on the Logan's Run. I distinctly remember seeing Logan's Run when I was 13. I've always loved sci-fi as a kid, so I had to see it. What I remember most of that viewing years ago, besides Farrah, was the trailer shown before this movie back in 76. Yes, I remember the trailer. It foretold a movie coming next summer called Star Wars. I could not wait to see this new Star Wars movie thing and went home and told all my friends about it, and I didn't want my friends to miss Star Wars when it finally came out, as if it could have been possible in the summer of 77. That's just a great story, so I thought I would share it. Thank you, Wayne. David Oldham. I'd argue The Island was a Logan's Run remake. Michael Bay's The Island, right? The one with Scarlett and Ewan McGregor. Can I request that one of your nods to the original be that the female cast character, the main female character is hot, wears less and less clothing as the film progresses, and this last bit is important for absolutely no reason. Jenny Agutter really didn't wear anything in Logan's Run. I mean, that was a fashion choice, my friends, and she wore it well. Good for her. It's honestly one of the highlights of the movie for me. Not in a creepy way, just in I was watching it with binoculars. So maybe a little creepy. I don't know. Whatever. Dave also asked, how about doing a second season of Stranger Things episode? I've been hearing no end of opinions about where the show would go. It would be interesting to see what you do with it. That's really interesting. I'd never thought about doing kind of like a special episode where we talked about where the next season of a show like Stranger Things could go. That could actually be fun. And I will see what interest we have from some of our fellow hosts and see what they think about that. It might be a fun way to do a little bonus episode or something. Jane Patrickson really enjoyed Logan's Run. It's one of those rare little movies that I know they desperately need to remake. I really liked hearing Jason and Aaron and Troy on the episode. I'm also a big Deadcast and Blacklist fan. It was like having all my favorite people on one podcast. Squee! Thank you so much, Jane. Really appreciate that. And lastly, Kyle Nolan. He says, while I agree they give up too quickly at the end in regards to The Mist, I love the extremely short gap afterwards before Thomas Jane finds out, making it so much more tragic. Man, you just like it just right in the gut. Right in the gut. With this he also says, for this upcoming TV season being the year of time travel, it seems as good a time as any to finally remake Timeline. Really enjoyed the book, but the film was a big disappointment. Kyle, I'm gonna quote one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and that's Psych, and say I never want to be Paul Walker, not even for one day. That's right. But that could be a good remake because Paul Walker, well, I mean, he's not here anymore. So it's not really going to hurt his legacy, is it? Let's give it a shot. You never know. Well, I'll keep that one in the books, my friend. That could be a fun one to do. We'll keep that in the books. Okay. Remake news. They're real quick. Thank you so much for the messages. Really, we got a lot of really nice comments about the Logan's Run and a lot of nice comments on The Mist, especially from people that just check the movie out because of it, which is very, very cool. We really do appreciate that. I'm glad you guys really enjoyed the conversation. I really, really do. And remake news. Okay. Heathers. These are things being remade since the last time I did a teaser episode. And there's more. I'm missing some. I guarantee you there are some I'm missing. Heathers. Let the Right One In. The Departed. Snatch. Tremors again. They're talking about Tremors again. The Lost Boys. Chronicles of Narnia is rebooting. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And also one of my favorites, which we've already done a podcast on, Clue. They're remaking Clue. Also, Ben-Hur, the remake, tanked. Absolutely tanked. I'm not going to go into all those. I'm going to pick and choose. Heathers, one of my favorite movies of the 80s, and it doesn't hold up. It's Christian Slater doing his best Jack Nicholson impression because that's what he's got to do, you see. And that's just how Christian Slater talked in the 80s. That's all he did, right? And that's really what the whole movie is. It works for then. I could see it getting a remake. I guess they're looking at a TV adaptation. So I could see it. It could work. I'm fine with it. I mean, as long as they do it gently with a chainsaw. What? Yeah, that's right. That just happened. Let the Right One In has already been an English remake, and now they're going to remake that into another TV show. Sure. They're also doing Lost Boys. That's going to be in the CW, which, look, I'm going to be in the minority, okay? I do not think The Lost Boys is a pinnacle of horror vampire cinema. It's a dumb, fun vampire flick. I love it. It ain't a timeless classic. That said, the CW kind of is a fit, right? I mean, they only do like two kinds of shows anymore. They do like vampire shows and they do comic book shows. That's really what they do. So, sure. And somebody asked me, do you think Kiefer Sutherland would do a cameo? No, I do not. Not even for a second. Not even for a second. I think he would just go back to his country music career and say, piss on that. He'd never do it. The Departed, man, that is just like sacrilege. The original movie that it was based on was perfect. They remade it as The Departed, was perfect. I don't really know how else you can top that. If you're going to do it as a TV show, sure, I can see how it would work. But it's probably the best you're ever going to see Mark Wahlberg, and I think we should just stop there. It's just not going to get you. Who are you? I'm the guy doing his job. You must be the other guy. Nobody's topping that. Nobody. Just let it go. Let it go. Tremors again. You know, they're doing that. Kevin Bacon's actually trying to prod that along. S.S. Wilson, as you know, has been on several of our episodes. He's actually going to be on one coming up called The Magnificent Seven. What? Which it goes in a really cool direction, by the way. So definitely check that out. But S.S. Wilson came back. He's going to come back again, I think. I think he really enjoys doing these. And he wrote Tremors. And I'm not speaking for him at all. This is totally just me talking. Aaron, host of Remake This Movie Right. He ran the movies. He did the movies. He did the original TV show on Sci-Fi. And they're not keeping them abreast at all. They don't want them involved. So Kevin Bacon, who was a star but had nothing to do, he didn't create it, he didn't write it, anything else. And I'm not knocking Kevin Bacon. But he kind of dissed that whole franchise for years. Didn't appreciate it, whatever. And now he's kind of like the guy in charge while the guys that wrote it aren't even being invited to play. For me, that's just a bad taste in my mouth. I don't expect that. Maybe it's because I have I know him now. I know S.S. Wilson. I've talked to him a lot. But the guy, he's a really, really great guy. Just genuinely great guy. Not a Hollywood phony or any of that stuff. He's just a genuinely great guy. I mean, the guy came on here to remake his own movie. You know how cool that is and how much hubris that takes. It just makes him a cool guy. And the fact that they're kind of shutting him out of his own creation, I just don't like that. So for me, Tremors, I'm not zero interest, man. Even with Kevin Bacon, I mean, I'll probably check out the pilot, but it'll be with that face that you make when you see your ex-girlfriend that's now with the hot linebacker. I mean, that's kind of the face you make. Okay, that might have been a high school flashback. I'm just saying that's the face and the noise that you make. when you see it. So I'm not really too excited. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is going to be Rebel Wilson is actually going to do a version of this. I don't know what they're going to do, but sure, why not? Let's see what happens. I like Rebel Wilson. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but the Ben-Hur remake tanked. So we had a summer full of sequels and remakes and whatnot, and they did poorly. So the solution, which is great for the podcast, it keeps us in business, you know what I mean? Keeps all those dollars filling the coffers. But the solution that Hollywood had is, let's remake more stuff. Instead of putting the movies, it'll do better on TV. Let's just remake that stuff on TV. Everything you love. That's why that tagline is there. Everything you love, it will get a remake someday. And only we can really make it better because they're not getting it right. Whatever. Okay, now it's time for some awesome. We are going to have the next episode. We've had a couple pretty serious, little heavier remake episodes. We had The Mist and we had Logan's Run. Deep, introspective, insightful pieces. It's time for a change. It's time for a little fun. It's time to remake a movie that people love, but it's time. It could use a little update. You know what I mean? It could use a little feeling of a little fire, a little excitement, and that's what we're gonna do. And it's a fun episode. It is for the Marvel creation. Well, you know what? Hang on. Here's all I'm gonna say about this next remake, and then I'm gonna play a little teaser. Some mothers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Look at them. They're cattle. Pieces of meat. What difference does it make how their world ends? Plague, war, famine. Morality doesn't even enter into it. We're just a function of natural selection. The new race.
Looks like your mascara's running.
I'm offering you a truce. I want you with us.
What do you think, I'm stupid? Redane prota uchano. Says no praga un porta. Un pano.
Familiar with the blood god?
Frost. You're nothing to me but another dead vampire.
Oh, so exciting! That's right. Mother fuzz. I don't know what that was. That was like a combination of words to avoid the bad word. I don't know what that was. I think it said mother fuzz. Whatever. We're going to remake Blade, the Wesley Snipes classic Blade. And it is a lot of fun. Amanda and Zach come on. They've been on previous episodes. Zach is a kind of a resident comic book guy. And Amanda has been on many episodes. You know both of them very well. It's a really fun episode. I really hope you guys check it out. And actually, we came up with a twist. And I got to give full credit. I think it was Zachary that came up with this twist. Zach came up with this twist. It is really cool. I really like it. I really hope this is one of those that I really hope Hollywood hears. Even though there's a lot of jokes and there's a lot of humor. And there's a really kind of bitchin' impression of Wesley Snipes. There's a lot of clever ideas at play here, and one in particular for how to tweak the story from what people remember that I think is damn near brilliant. Damn near brilliant. So come back, check it out. That's Blade. It's going to be coming out on the next Monday. So the next Monday that rolls around, you're going to hear that Blade episode. Definitely check it out. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I hope you do enjoy it every time you hear it. I hope you really, really do get a kick out of this podcast. We got a lot of fun stuff coming. I hope you're still invested. Please tell your friends, get more people listening. That's how the show continues. The more people listen, the more we really want to keep doing it. So it works. So please tell your friends. Email us your short pitch or thoughts on the next episode, which is Blade, to Remake This Movie Right at gmail.com. That's Remake This Movie Right at gmail.com. And you know what? I actually had one more that I almost forgot. My God, I am so sorry, Andrew. We had one more. It's from Andrew Jeeves in regards to the Mist remake. Said, "Hi, Aaron. I loved your Mist remake. However, I would relocate it from Palm Springs, California to Las Vegas, Nevada, where our protagonists are there for an auto convention at the Venetian Casino and Resort when the mist comes and traps everyone on the casino floor. I think that's really cool, having it in a casino. All right. Mrs. Carmody would be stating that this is due to the sin of everyone coming here to gamble their lives away, and that this is her God's will to destroy the sinners and Las Vegas. The movie would end with our protagonists stuck with no gas outside Area 51 and are going to go out with a bang by fighting the monsters until they either die or defeat the monsters. We then time skip to a few hours later when the military arrives to defeat the monsters to find that all of our protagonists are dead. Wow. Any chance of remaking Fletch, Dungeons and Dragons, or Westworld? Can't wait for your next remake, Andrew Jeeves. I love your idea. I think that's really cool. And I'd actually put that aside to mention near the end, but not quite at the end, so I apologize. But I didn't forget, and that's the most important part. Westworld is coming, like I said. You'll hear that shortly. And Dungeons and Dragons we're still working on. I definitely want to have that done at some point where we are actually going to have dungeon masters come in. Real Dungeons and Dragons masters come in and help us craft a story. I think that would be very cool, and we're looking to do that soon. Hopefully before the year's out, but I don't know for sure. Because we will take a little break at some point, but I can't tell you when that break's going to be, but it'll be for about a month or so, just to regroup. So that's that. Okay, so that's going to do it for this show. Please review us on iTunes if you haven't done that. If you're an iTunes or an Apple user, please, it'll take you 2 minutes. Just go in and hit the star rating. Give us 5 stars. 5 stars. Write something if you feel like it. If you don't, just the stars are helpful. Reviews help kind of iTunes move it up the chains, so to speak. We do appreciate that. If you listen on Stitcher, give us a thumbs up, or whatever podcast app you use, Google Play or anything else. Just rate us however you can. It really does help the show out. We do appreciate it. Remember Wayne Henderson, go to mediavoiceovers.com. Remember Troy Heinritz, you can always find him at theblacklisexposed.com, and also our new podcast, beyondwestworldpodcast.com. That's going to do it for this episode. We're on Twitter at Remake Right, and you can find them at remakethismovieright.com or thehollywoodoutsider.com, either one. And remember, the next movie you watch will get a remake someday. Probably it'll be announced by the weekend, and only you can make it better. Take care, guys.